All right, welcome back. You know what? They said it can't happen here. They keep saying it can't happen here. All the while, it's happening here. 19 attorneys general say that JP Morgan persistently discriminates against its own clients and closes bank accounts without warning. Well, that's concerning when you consider JP Morgan holds 13% of U.S. deposits and 21% of credit card spending. In a letter which was published by the Wall Street Journal, the AGs say JP Morgan has repeatedly discriminated against customers based on their religious or political beliefs. They give the example of in May of 2022 when Chase abruptly closed the checking account for the National Committee for Religious Freedom. Well, on its website, the NCRF, as they say, says it's a nonprofit dedicated to defending the constitutional right to religious freedom. That makes sense. Its advisory board includes Christians, Hindus, Jews, and Muslims, and that seems pretty diverse to us, right? Well, when pressed about the closings, JP Morgan said that the decision came from, quote unquote, corporate. That's the oldest non-excuse in the book. Turns out, when you get as big as JP Morgan, maybe even your own diverse and inclusive crowd may disapprove of your actions. My next guest knows a little bit about this subject. Please welcome to the show, Rebecca Walser from Walser Wealth Management. Thanks for taking the time today. But maybe, you know what? It gets to a point with this craziness that your own friends start eating you alive, and maybe that's a little bit of what's happening.
It's so true. I have a personal story on this, Scott. I personally donated to the Canadian truckers on a credit card through the I think it was this, I don't, whatever the platform was, and it got hacked. The platform got hacked, and I got an actual email from a Washington Post reporter because they went through the list, and they were like asking, like I would be somehow embarrassed that I actually sent money. Of course, I was like, heck yes, I sent money. I'm a libertarian. Let's go. Let's get the government out. And then, of course, he wanted to talk to me, and my publicist was like, no, don't go any further. I'm like, stop. But this is the thing. This is the tightrope that we're walking. And it's corporatism, better known as fascism. And it's been here before. Klaus Schwab might want to say that he has the handle, the patent on the public-private partnership, but it's totally been tried before. You might want to ask Mussolini before about it. I mean, basically, this is them laying the groundwork, Scott, for corporate America to start really starting to control behavior through the social credit score that they're going to bring forward with the digital IDs to mimic the communist totalitarian system that they have. So we will all be given, when the central bank digital dollar launches, we will all be given a digital currency, and you will, and this is like Larry Fink, BlackRock type of thing going to all of the corporations saying, let's track ESG scores, as I've mentioned before. So now we have all three credit bureaus that are willing to start tracking individual carbon footprints. And so that is what we're talking about, and it will morph into a social credit score. And if they don't like your causes, I mean, we've seen this with PayPal, they're able to hold back $2,500 for what? And the whole world was in an uproar. They took it away. They brought it back 6 weeks later, quietly under the radar. No one mentioned it again because it was like a dead story. I mean, these corporations are really smart. All they have to do is wait out a 7-day news cycle where the story's so big, say that they're not going to do it, pull it back, and then do it later, 2 months, quietly. The media won't cover it again. Like, oh, that's an old story. We've done it. It's like they know how to manipulate the media. The media is a part of the game. So that's what it is. We are here.
So you brought it up, so I have to address it real quick. But you know what? You're right with Larry Fink and BlackRock. Why would Miller Lite wade into the Bud Light debacle? Why would Target wade into the Bud Light debacle?
Exactly.
Why would Adidas weigh in? It's because they're getting pressure from Larry Fink and BlackRock to go down that route because they want them to be ESG and beat them up over it, correct?
That's exactly right. There is so much corporate peer pressure. And Larry Fink himself, I mean, BlackRock obviously is in every corporate 100 through 500 there is. And he sent a letter 2.5, 3 years ago now stating that this is where we're headed. Be prepared. We're going to start demanding that you provide us your carbon footprint on all of your operations. And that's coming. So this is absolutely a BlackRock coordinated WEF situation that the corporations are starting to really lay the groundwork for us Americans to get used to social credit scores and basically monitoring. And this, it was supposed to be a lot easier for them, Scott. It was supposed to be all small and medium-sized businesses are gone, and all we have are the corporate, the big, multinationals. But that didn't happen because we were able to get out of lockdown too fast. And so this is why it's more of a struggle than they expected. And so they're trying to make it happen. It's just a little bit harder for them right now.
Well, I think the American people will push back harder than anybody else on the planet or more. But number two, then if you then lay over, what you're saying, I agree 100%. But lay over that, this the Fed now, this digital currency coming in July, and that doesn't smell very good, if you ask me.
Well, it's just the fact that once you move, see, this is the thing. I was thinking about this. We would never agree to have our retirement accounts, our ERISA managed retirement 401ks, IRAs. We would never agree to have those nationalized. But what we're basically doing is nationalizing money. We're basically saying, okay, let's literally put all of the money with the Federal Reserve, even though it's a private corporation charter 1913, it's not a government agency. Let's literally put all of that there, forget the commercial banks, bypass them, have a digital ID, and what's the nationalization of our entire money supply and banking system altogether, and nobody's talking about it. They're just talking about it as if it's some kind of, streamlined, efficient payment processing system. And this is a change to money as we know it, and it's giving total control of money into the hands of a non-government private corporation that basically is chartered by Congress. This is a disaster.
I know. I wish there was better news out there, but this is the case. You're right with Larry Fink and BlackRock and what the Fed wants to do with our money. And maybe when we've got states like Florida, where you're at, where DeSantis says no CBDCs, maybe that's the case. But
amen.
We need more of that. We need more of you. So thank you very much for being on.
10th Amendment, federalism, 10th Amendment, push back states, push back.
That's